Hey guys, welcome back. I started to record this and I got about 15 minutes in and realized I was wearing my work shirt. And I thought that might not be a good idea to wear my work shirt on camera just in case people get weird about it. So, we're going to backtrack to what I was talking about before in the video that you didn't see. So, it doesn't matter. So, anyway, hi, welcome. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome back. I know it's been a couple weeks. I had to fight a cold, a flu thing, and then a freaking sinus infection, and then we went out of town last week. So it's been a couple weeks since we talked about our triple turkey story, but feeling much better. I have my voice back. I'm highly caffeinated right now, so good to talk for a little bit here. I'm going to work on trying to do some shorts for this channel, the Triple Turkey Productions channel, too. Because they say they were recommending it. YouTube was recommending it, so that's cool. I'm gonna work on trying to do something with that. I don't know what we're gonna do yet because this is, like I said, we do a lot of different things, movies and whatnot, movie reviews, and talk about this and all that other stuff. So, but I am probably gonna do little teaser, quick things for our upcoming sketch shows that we're doing at our rendezvous location. So cool. Anyway, let's get back to business here. So this is being done on Friday instead of Saturday, which is when I normally do it. Because I thought, well, let's just get this knocked out for Friday, so we have something on the channel Friday. That way, if we don't do anything for this channel tomorrow, then at least we have this. We have this wonderful thing. So anyway, where were we? Last time we left off, we did the Michael story and stuff like that, which then we had to kind of rebuild and refocus and all that. Yeah, so we ended up getting into the rendezvous, and that started in October officially, but we didn't have a first real show until November of 2015, which I talked about a little bit at the end of the video, but I was kind of trying to wrap it up. So anyway, and I also was struggling with my voice that day too, so interesting, huh? Anyway, we got in there because originally I was going to try to do something to Pocket, but at the same time, Pocket was fairly new. There wasn't a whole lot of regular shows in terms of groups, unless you had to draw some money if you're going to do that. So we weren't there yet. We're still hoping to get there someday. No, we've done okay. We did the 1st of October show, and like I said, it was just me, Diana, and Josh doing improv games. Anna just sat in the audience with Rusty and Kevin. And Rusty and Kevin, they, are supporters, great supporters. Rusty films all the shows. And if you want to see whole shows for years, go to Turbo Turkey Sketchpad 2.0, which is another sister channel. We have so many channels. But there's some stuff on there. You can watch them if you want to watch whole shows that you've never seen before. Come check us out and see many turkeys throughout the years. Anyway, then in November we did a sketch show. Jillian wasn't able to do it and wasn't able to rejoin. So we asked Simone, asked a couple other people, and then Jeanette, who did Electro Man with us, ended up being able to do the sketch show. So there were 5 of us who did the sketch show. It went pretty well. Had a decent turnout. And then we did auditions, and we got lots of good, talented people from that, and did our December show, our holiday extravaganza, the first ever holiday extravaganza. And we just basically did improv games, and we did a sketch called Crappy Gifts, and everybody had a part, and that was basically just off of something that's very relatable, hey, sometimes you get a crappy gift from someone who doesn't know you very well, or makes no effort, like the time I got a gift certificate to the mall. Not a specific store, like a restaurant or something. To the mall. You spent some effort. I mean, it's not as bad as my friend who got gift certificates to McDonald's, but woo, go eat some more, fat boy. He wasn't fat, but still, it's just kind of funny. Anyway, like I said, we did auditions. We had a decent amount of turnout. We actually only had 2 guys show up, and we had a lot of females, which was awesome. Because get some females in the comedy, get some fun, mix it up, keep us men in line. And we had learned our lesson from the past mistakes of, writing for bimbos and bond girls. So, humor. I think we've done pretty well. So, we got Draco, who is super funny, and is still a good friend to this day. And Jim, who had auditioned for us in Electro Man. He's very quirky, and he was pretty funny. He was a good fit, so we were like, we'll keep him on. And then we had Gina, who had done a little bit, and does stunt work and like for movies and stuff, which is super cool, which is what she's really into. And she also did like the Renaissance fairs and stuff like that. That's how she met her husband as well, who does that too, and he came to a lot of the shows. And then Jessica Hewitt, who was actress, and she had, I think she was trying to audition for Electro Man, but then wasn't able to do it or something. But she came back to, it's the fun thing when some people audition for you, then they might audition for you later again. It's a wonderful thing, even if they can't make it the first time. She was really funny. And then we had a girl named Liza, who was very talented as well. I think that's everybody. And then we had a girl named Kayla Teal, who wasn't able to do it. You might know Kayla Teal if you look around Seattle town. She's done a lot of stuff with Jet City, and just she has her own sketch and improv group. She's very talented. She also did a podcast that me and Josh appeared on, which was super cool as well. Definitely check her out. She's very talented. But she auditioned for us once upon a time. It just was the Sunday commitment was pretty much the only reason she couldn't do it. And it was really no hard feelings, no big deal. And she said she really did just enjoy our auditions. So, and there was another girl audition. I forget her name, but she didn't end up joining. So, oh well. Sorry, I didn't remember your name. Anyway, well, I never saw her again after that. So, Anyway, we did it was a really fun show for our first show. It was kind of, here's some new turkeys for you. And Jeanette was in it too. The only downfall for that was Liza, who was very talented, made a really super cool poster. It had like Krampus on it holding a kid, and then there was like, I think it was supposed to be Saint Nick and stuff like that. But Jeanette was a great person and very talented and fun. Her husband and her are both Christian, and hey, that's all good. Whatever you believe, it's all good. Just be respectful of everybody. That's fine. But he saw the poster and thought it was the devil and all this other stuff, and it's like, it really wasn't. It was Krampus, dude. Just look up Krampus and you'll know what it is. But anyway, so she sends me this email that he was super offended by it, as a Christian and all that. And I can't remember all the specifics of it, but it was just, so then I have to send this email to Liza saying, yeah, they were kind of, and I felt bad because Liza's super talented and she made a fun poster, and then, now she's feeling all awkward because now it's somebody else. And it's just like, this is not the best introduction for someone to the new group to have another member of the group. It's just, and that's nothing against Jeanette. It was just a situation with her husband at the time. She's moved on and better things. But yeah, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. He wasn't necessarily a bad guy. It was just an awkward situation. But anyway, sadly, she never noticed another poster again. But I wonder why. So anyway, we were moving on, and I wanted to try some long form. So we've been trying different styles that I looked at. Now, the thing with long form is, if you've never done it before and you've never taken a class, you should probably not try to do it as a show for like your second show with a brand new group of people who also have not taken a long form class. So this is what I learned, because that's a thing. Like I said, the only thing we'd done was that one that we did for sketch or improv month the previous year was the only real long form thing we'd done. I'd never taken a long form class. I've always wanted to, but it was like the one time I auditioned for it was way back when at Jet City, and I had only been through 101 class, so I wasn't ready. But like you had to audition and then you still had to pay like $300 or something like that. I think that's what it was. Maybe it was $250, but at that time I was very broke, if you remember, as I've told in previous videos. So couldn't really afford it. And then it's like auditioning for the class. So if you do the audition class, we still gonna need that $300, and that's fine. They gotta make their money. I get it. But at the time it was just like, but I auditioned and you accepted me. Shouldn't that be enough? But and I think they do payment plans and stuff, is what I've heard. But if you need to, which is cool. But yeah, so like because of that, I've never really, other than a few workshop things that I did later at the Pocket and stuff like that, hadn't really taken a long form class, which is why I'm not trying to teach long form. I'm just teaching short form to my students right now. So, teach what you know. So anyway, unbeknownst to myself, I decided to do a soap opera thing called Rapid City. Why the hell I called it Rapid City? No idea. I traveled through Rapid City once on the way moving out here, and I don't know, it just stuck. So we were doing a soap opera called Rapid City. And the problem, like I said, was we only had a few weeks, barely maybe a few rehearsals because, the holidays and stuff. And it was pretty early in January, too, that we did it, I believe. So there wasn't a whole lot of time to practice and get it, sharpened and figure out some things with long form, which, I figured out now, just through, practice and experience and watching other groups and stuff. But, yeah, at the time, none of us knew what the hell we were doing. And then the awkward thing was that we got a suggestion, and I don't remember exactly if the thing that Jim kept saying was the suggestion or if it was just what he thought of when he heard the suggestion. But basically, awkwardly, Jim kept repeating, "Come to my rape van." And he just kept saying it. And it was very awkward. And I was, I emceed before, but it was like one of those things where I'm like, okay, I don't want to stop the show, but I also, this is really awkward and we're losing the audience quickly. And the show itself was jumbled as it was because we just don't know what the hell we're doing yet with this style. And so, yeah, so anyway, that was awkward. And Liza had brought a bunch of her friends too, so I felt kind of bad about that. I did send an email and let everyone know, let's not ever say that on stage ever again, please. Because, like I said, I've always said this, and I said this to my class, I said, always be careful about what you say on stage. Even if you get a suggestion that kind of leans a certain way, you can always lean it the other way in a way that's not going to offend someone in the audience. Because, like I said, you never know what someone in that audience has been through. Whatever kind of trauma they've had, whatever it is, you have to be, there's a thin line. And like I said, I understand in comedy, yes, there are things that you can joke about a lot of things, but there's a limit to what you want to, the context of things too, it's a hard thing to get into, but yeah. So anyway, Jessica thanked me for that too. I remember, because of, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so we decided in February, we're like, okay, we're just going to do some short form games in February. That's what we're going to do. And that's, we call it February Laugh-a-cur because I like to put laughter, some kind of humor in all the titles because I am a creative genius. Anyway, caffeinated, how are you? Drinking out of my Seinfeld mug that my lovely wife Anna got me. Some cranberry juice, keeping my urinary tract health intact. Everyone's got to pee. Anyway, back to me with my Cobra Kai shirt. So anyway, yeah, we did that show. That show went a lot better, and it was February, and we did like I said, we did a lot of short form games. Gina brought a lot of her friends from the Renaissance Fair, and that was cool. They were really supportive and helpful. We did a game at the end. We do a game, and we take a little break from doing it because we've done it so much. But a game called Musical Chairs of Death. And what we do is we literally play a game of musical chairs. And then basically each time someone's eliminated, we just give them some kind of ridiculous death. Like, you've been eaten by chocolate to death or something, or whatever. It's a stupid one right there. But, but it's usually, and then we just act out the death. And then it just comes down to one person. And then even that last person still has to act out some kind of ridiculous death. So there's really no winners. We all just go for the musical chairs of death. So it was cool though, because the one guy from Renaissance Fair, I realized we didn't have any music with us. I'm like, oh crap, no music. So he was just kind of singing, and so we had some music to go with it. So that was cool. The only downfall, I feel bad about this, because Rusty had been recording these shows, and I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if she told me to, or if I just stupidly said it, but I'm like, hey guys, thanks for coming in. We are recording this show, so if you want to watch yourself being at the show, you can go to the YouTube channel. And then one of Gina's friends is just like, so I just paid $5 and I could have just watched this at home. Just like, yeah, that's a good point. But at the same time, you're still supporting live theater. So, support live theater, guys. Go to a show. I know with pandemic and stuff, it's a little tougher. But if you feel safe, go to a show. Support. Especially Turbo Turkey shows. So anyway, that show, like I said, that show went pretty well. And then I had an idea for March, which was called March Laughness, which was to kind of do sort of a little take off the comedy sports kind of style. I've also never taken a comedy sports class either. Love to do it sometime. But that's more of like more of your Who's Line kind of, it's more competitive. It's like a sport. Like it's why it's called comedy sports. So I thought I'd do my own little take of it. I called it March Laughness to play off of March Madness. Like I said, I use laugh a lot. Ha ha ha, laugh at me. So anyway, I'm very energetic this morning. It's amazing. How the hell am I going to take a nap? Anyway, cranberry juice. So anyway, also, so we worked on that. So my concept was that we would split into teams, and then we would play games and have the audience kind of like vote for points, And then at the end of the day, like whose line, points don't really matter. But we had some fun, names for our teams and stuff like that, and we had a lot of fun. So that was really cool. And then April, we did our next sketch show, which I called "Everybody Plays the Fool" because it was around April Fool's Day. So. And we brought some more older sketches back, kind of recasted them with our new players and stuff. And so it was just kind of, when I first started, I didn't want to write a whole lot of new sketches right away just because I wanted to kind of be like, well, we've never done these sketches here, so let's do them here. So I waited a little bit before we started writing new sketches in 2016 and stuff. But I think it turned out pretty well. Overall, we had a really good, I think we had about 25 people, I think, for that show. And they enjoyed it pretty much. I remember me and Josh did this sketch. It's called Time for Action. And those of you who have seen our Adam and Anna channel, there was the whole Napoleon Gerhardt Von Quinn thing. That came out of this sketch. And Michael had written this sketch because I wanted to play a villain. Because I was Electric Man. I was playing these hero roles. And I'm like, I want a villain. And he wrote me a villain. So it was basically like kind of like a Bond villain. Well, we had this idea where he had written it where like Von Quinn is only speaking in movie quotes. And I'd get confused with why is he okay, and I'm reacting to it and, and all that stuff. But some of the movie quotes, had curse words in them. And Jeanette was like, well, my people will not like that if they hear curse words. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go again. And like I said, I'm not criticizing Jeanette. I love Jeanette. She's great. But it was just like, can we just not censor ourselves? So Josh tried doing kind of like a beep, when we got to those things, which was mildly funny. But to be honest, the sketch didn't get a lot of laughs. And it was unfortunate because I think it's a clever sketch. But if you're not a cinephile like me or Michael or Josh are, you may not get what we're going for. And I think we did try it another time without the censoring and changing a few of the movie lines. Went about the same. So that's also why when we did that sketch, I'm like, I can do something with these characters and make this freaking work. So, yeah. And I would kind of expound the story. So that's not a criticism of Michael's writing. It was funny. I thought it was funny anyway. But the audience didn't really like it. So, oh well. So it goes comedy. And then May came around, and I think I actually called the thing Mother May I think of a title for this show. And I remember it was on May Day. Yes, May Day. And there were protests going on down there and all this stuff. And nobody came to the show. Also, at this point, Liza had to bow out. She had some things going on with the family and stuff like that. Some unfortunate things. I won't get into it, but and then she ended up moving to California and stuff like that. And I felt bad. She's a really nice, very nice girl, and very talented, very funny. And I believe she was still. Last I knew, she was still doing stuff down in California with sketch comedy and stuff. So yeah. So yeah, all props to her. It was really, even though she was only here for a short time, I did really enjoy working with her. And of course, wish her well. Yes, so we did the May thing. Oh yeah, and right at this time, I had also been talking to two other people who unfortunately weren't there for the auditions, but were interested in joining. So it was a girl named Erin who Anna had worked with on a show, and at first she was going to be, I was trying to set up classes then, like I'd been trying to set up classes for so many years. And so I was originally going to have her be in my class, but then it ended up just like, just join the group. It's cool. We'll just teach you and all that stuff while we're doing it. So she was there for the May show when we weren't actually having an audience. And then June, I think I called it something like, it's like, well, it's not May Day. This is the It's Not May Day show. Improv games. We just did improv games again. And and that was pretty fun. And that was actually Erin's only show, and then she bowed out. The other person that joined was Donnie Miller. It was super funny, and To be honest, it's funny. I've always told him this, and he's changed his look a little bit over the years, but he looks very much like Jerry Seinfeld, like a little bit skinnier version of Jerry Seinfeld, like in the face and stuff. And he wasn't offended by that or nothing. Like, he's had a girlfriend who had told him that too before, and I was just like, yeah, but super funny and like energetic guy. And so he added a lot of fun to the group right away. Very talented guy, and we were happy to have him aboard. And then let's see what happened in. Oh, right. I need to pause for a minute. Not the video, but pause, because I had mentioned before that we had been working on a horror shorts. I forgot to mention this earlier, but it doesn't happen until the summer, but I can still mention it anyway. So we had working on these horror shorts, which we were calling the Dark Meat, Turbo Turkey, Dark Meat. And Josh wrote one, and then Anna wrote one, I wrote one, and then Diana wrote Michael's premise for his Vampire Comes to Dinner one. And we ended up we're getting back together with Burien, and we actually had a really good meeting with them where the things with Electroman, because they were so busy with their Playwright Festival, they weren't able to like lay out a lot of things that they usually do when they're working with other groups, and how to promote the show and things like that, so you can get a bit more people in the audience. Because that was the thing with Electroman. We had decent audiences, but it wasn't like, had we had a laid out plan at that time, we probably would have had even more audience. But luckily, we came up with a good plan. We had a great meeting. Our stories got written. Mine was basically, there was a sketch called Jimmy's Toy Chest where I had this stuffed otter that somebody gave me for like a college graduation gift a long time ago. It used to make a silly giggly noise, and that eventually died out, but it's a cute little thing. Maybe I'll show them in another video. And I was going to play Ollie the Otter, and basically the whole thing on that premise was that he got Jimmy in trouble all the time, and it's like, oh, it was my magic, kind of a Calvin Hobbes kind of takeoff. But I thought, why don't we make that horror? Like, let's make it like, we'll call it Jenny. So we gave Simone the lead role in that, and because I wanted to give her, after she stepped in Electroman and also stage manager at the same time and did all that stuff, I thought, yeah, it's the least we can do. Just give her a spotlight, because I'm all about promoting talent, baby. Woo! So, yeah, and that was a lot of fun. And I had this great furry costume that Jeanette found. It wasn't technically an otter costume. I guess I looked it up. It's actually a wolf costume, but it looked enough like an otter. She did a lot with the costume, much like she did with Electroman as well. And she was great. She's a really great customer as well, Jeanette is. And so that was really fun, and it was cool to be able to turn that into a story and stuff like that. So the Dark Meat, that happened in August. Was it August or July? I think it was August. But anyway, we haven't gotten August yet, Adam. So we did the June show. That went pretty well. Aaron moved on. And we also submitted for Sketchfest, because I'm like, okay, we have some sketch things here. Why not? Let's submit for it. So I had Rusty send in the video and all that stuff. And just like on a whim, like, we'll see. We haven't submitted in a couple of years. Let's submit this year just to see, see what happens. And as luck would have it, we actually got in. So we basically were given a 10-minute set, which is a little shorter than the last time we were there, but hey, we didn't care. It's like, cool, we're going to be in the pocket. We're going to get to do a thing. That wasn't until September, so we'll get to that in a minute. So in July we did, I think it was July Improvendance is what I don't know why I was calling it that. I have to throw some kind of weird word thing in. I think it was like I was trying some newer improv games that we hadn't played. I believe that's what we were going for. But it was like the first annual, it was Improv Olympics or something. I don't know. Well, I think I was trying to do another Marsh Laughness kind of idea. Or was that the next year? Hell, I don't know. Whatever. I think we tried new games. Yeah, that's what it was. It was new games. It was the next year that we did anyway. Whatever. Get to the point, Adam. As things went on, Jessica had to bow out as well. Just had too much on her schedule, which is unfortunate. But, so we've lost Liza, we've lost Jessica, so a familiar pattern is happening in Turbo Turkey here. But anyway, not a big deal. There was no hard feelings or nothing like that. So let's see. Gina was still around, of course, so that's cool. July, like I said, we did some improv games. It was fun. All right, so my plan, I had decided, okay, August we're going to do a split show, and October we're going to do a split show. And I had contacted some other improv groups to come out and do a split show, like a split show long form. My idea was to do some long form for both of these, but have a little more time to work on it. We'll see how that works out in a minute. So yeah, we did the dark meet, pretty successful. We made a decent amount of money, had a good run. Overall, a lot of people liked our plays and stuff like that. And the goal initially for the next year was to come back to Burien and do another one, which I had an idea that I've still not done to this day. It was one of those things, we're going to do that next year. And then I'm like, maybe it would work better as an outdoor show. And then things happen, as I'll talk about in another video, that steer it a different way. But yeah, so overall it was a good time, a great cast. We had, like I said, Draco did the show with us. Jeanette did the show with us, played several roles. Simone was in it. We had a girl named Fantasia who was really, really talented. She played one of the zombies in the Dinner at 8 that Honor wrote. And she was great. She's played that role perfect. We had a guy named Nick who was just hilarious as the husband and father. I had this kind of running bit in Jenny where he would say, Vance Woodmount, here's my card. I don't know why I came up with it, but it was a funny a little bit, because it was more of a darker play, but I wanted to add a little bit of humor in there because it's imaginary otter that's causing chaos. So I mean, kind of silly. And Nick was in that. We had a guy named Matt who was really funny as well. And he played several roles as well. Like, so we basically had them kind of spread out throughout our plays, playing multiple roles. So they were, kind of little anthology, which we've been working on the second one, which will come to fruition at some point, maybe next year. It's possible, if I get around to actually writing my idea. Anyway, I'm working kind of on a sequel to that one, to Jenny, as well. But we'll see how things go. So yeah, overall that was a really good run, and I don't think I forgot to mention anybody. Did I? Did I forget to mention any cast members? Jeanette, Diana, Anna was in some of them too. I don't think I forgot anybody. I hope I didn't forget anybody. You were all wonderful and we love you. But yeah, Dark Moon was a success. So the downfall was we did our strike that day of the August show for the long form show. And also the group that was originally going to perform was now a different group. And I remember we had an idea. I honestly cannot tell you what the hell it was. But we had an idea with the six of us. Unfortunately, all six of us who were doing the show, it was me, Draco, Jeanette, Anna, Diana, and Josh. All of us were freaking exhausted because we had gotten up that morning to strike a show and strike a Saturday period. So we had to come do this improv show, and we were the main event. So, they went first. And even as I was watching, I'm like, man, they actually know what the hell they're doing. Because they were doing all the wipes and everything like that. And I'm just like, man, I kind of feel intimidated right now. So we did our show, and the sad thing, we didn't have a lot of people there either. August, it's weird. I've learned May, August, and January are rough months to do shows. At least because we were doing the first Sunday of every month. So if that's like the first of the month, sometimes nobody's coming out. And when it gets to summertime, nobody's coming out for the most part. So anyway, it was fine, but it was just it was one of those shows. I'm like, we probably should have just done something else. But it was my goal was at the time when I set these ones up was to set up more groups coming in so that they would maybe bring people, fans of theirs, to come see us and be like, oh, this is Triple Turkey, cool, they have their thing here. And then maybe they would come and more people would come to shows. And well, that, I think they had like one person with them. So it's like, oh, well, hey, we're in good company. Because we didn't have anybody there either. So it's all good. Of course, Rusty and Kevin were always there, which is at the very least, you had two people there. It's tough to build an audience with, it really is, believe it or not. You can invite 100 friends and maybe 2 show up. So it is what it is, as I would learn. So anyway, August went through. We got to September. And like I said, we were in Sketchfest. And it was Jim and Gina and Diana, myself, Anna, Josh. Is there anybody else I'm forgetting? Donnie couldn't do it. Because he was in a play, I think. He was doing a film, I think. Draco was in a play as well, which we saw. I'll tell that story in a minute. Not really a Triple Turkey story, but it's an interesting story anyway. But And who else was in it? I think that was all. Yeah, we had a group picture somewhere. I probably should have looked it up. Come prepared, Adam. So anyway, we did it, and like I said, we did a bunch of sketches in 10 minutes, like pretty reasonably short sketches. I had one called Picky Palate Pete, which Josh called me one time when we were at a restaurant. I just thought it was funny. Because I am a very picky eater, and not like a picky eater because of dietary reasons or because of, I'm just like, it's green, I don't want to eat it. I'm such a child. But I've gotten a little bit better, but it made for a good premise for a sketch. And Jeanette would come on and say, picky palate, and it got pretty good laughs. And we worked with a group called SMAT, which was Matt Olson and Sarah McKinley, and that was the first time I worked with them in that show, and it was the start of a beautiful friendship. We would see them many, many times after that. But yeah, so that was super cool. We did Sketchfest, and it was like, that was awesome. And it was really cool because we hadn't really done a whole lot except, actually the last time we were there, we were at that sketch month where we had nobody in the crowd. We at least had some people in the crowd this time, which was cool. And we had nobody in the crowd for that one. I remember just being so upset, and so it was kind of a nice turnaround. Like, hey, we got into Sketchfest, we were a part of it. We had some good laughs and stuff. People were really cool. And yeah, I remember we did our September show. We just kind of did what we did at Sketchfest mixed with some improv games. I don't remember what the hell I called it. It was just, hey, it's a September show. I can't think of a title. Let's call it the September show. And and I remember. Was it that year? No, it was the next year. It was the next year. I'm thinking of jumping everywhere. Yeah, it was the next year. That's right. I was thinking about the next year, and I'm like, we're not jumping there yet, Adam. That's next week. Adam. Anyway, back to me. So yeah, we did that. Great experience. And I remember, wait, was that it? No. Yes. Oh, that's right. Robert came to one of our shows. I remember it because he came to our show for Sketchfest. Because that's right. The Pocket actually booked us to do a split show with another group. Who it kills me because I cannot remember what the group's name was. They were funny. I really liked them. Nice people. But it was the first time we're going to do a split show. You guys do a split show. And it's like, well, you guys did really well at Sketchfest. We want to have you guys back. And it was like, cool. So we were going to have Robert actually come back. And he was interested in coming back. To do that show with us. I'm like, cool. And I think he was probably down with doing something else too, like our sketch show in November, which we were going to do. And so we, he came to that September show. We talked a little bit, caught up. I apologized for the whole Matt thing, and he said, he says he wasn't a fan of what Matt was doing either. It was, and I said, I got wrapped up in that stuff, and super cool, no big deal. Like there wasn't any bitterness towards us or anything like that. Which is good. I always like it when things are just smooth and cool. Like we're cool with each other. There's no issues. We're cool. I'd rather have that than just like, oh, I hate you for life. Because it's life is short, guys. I do my best not to hold grudges. I have a few here and there, but like I do my best to just kind of like, just let it go. Unless they've done something like truly horrible to like that destroyed your life, it's just let it go. Laugh about it, talk about it here and there if you want to, but beyond that, let it go. So anyway, but yeah, as it worked out though, like the show we did, I think it was in October. It was right before we did our next split show at the Grotto, and the show went very well. We had a great time with the other group, and we had a pretty decent turnout too, and so that was a lot of fun. It was a great opportunity the Pocket gave us, so I was like, cool, thank you so much. And then what happened there was that before I jump to that, let me tell this quick story here. Draco was in a musical comedy called Working. He had wanted to do a musical. He was Draco was also trying to figure some things out at this time, and was planning on going to LA and stuff like that. Which is unfortunate because we hated to lose him. He'd be back though. But yeah, so he wanted to do this, and then he was going to take a break from doing any improv or acting or anything like that. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. But we went to the show, and we were having a pretty good time through the first half of the thing. And if you've not seen videos with Anna has a very boisterous laugh, which majority of theaters are very happy to have her there, especially if it's a comedy, because then she's laughing. It makes other people feel comfortable to laugh as well. Like, this woman's having a great time. And Anna has a great sense of humor anyway, so that helps a lot. Well, unfortunately, there was a gentleman who was sitting in front of Anna, and he had some very much body language going on of like, this woman's laugh is annoying me. It's ruining my experience, you know. And you could tell it was on his face. His really red face, pudgy looking white guy. Probably a boomer. But like, yeah. And like, he just kept kind of like, he turned around and says, "You were too loud," or something like that. And at first I thought like maybe Anna knew him and like he was being sarcastic. Like, you have friends that do that sometimes. You're like, yeah, whatever. And then I just came to realize that, oh no, this guy is not. He does not know Anna. He's actually being a jerk. And the woman next to him was like, "Don't worry about it," to her. And then she started laughing loud, kind of just to be like, "Yeah, fuck you, buddy. We're at a comedy, asshole." So anyway, we get to intermission, and he stands up, and Anna's like, "Oh God, what's this guy gonna say?" And he's like, "We're moving. It's like, okay, great. You're gonna move somewhere else. Cool. It's resolved. And if he had just done that, hey, okay, he's in a bad mood, whatever. But then, Anna was just trying to say, he's like, "You guys are too loud," and then he's like, I recorded you. I could show you how loud you are. I was like, first of all, why are you recording at a show, sir? That's actually illegal. You can be kicked out and sued for that, sir. Thank you very much, dickhead. And so, yeah. And if he just walked away, it'd been fine. But like, he just kept pushing it. He just kept saying, we're moving. And then like, the one person was asking him like, is it an oratory thing? Do you have like sensory hearing? He's like, "No, I see things on an introspective and not on a surface level and da-da-da-da." And it's like, the fuck, And there's one guy, it's like, Josh is just he's just reacting what's on stage. It's like, this is me reacting. And it's just like, I was about ready to knock the guy out myself. I'm not a very violent person. I do have a little bit of a temper, admittedly, but like, I'm ready to knock this guy out. You don't talk to my then girlfriend, now wife, like that motherfucker for laughing at a fucking comedy show, asshole. Anyway, so the guy next to the husband of the other woman at the thing is just like, "Hey, buddy, you and I can go have a reaction outside." He's ready to knock this guy out. I'm like, "Yeah, no, back you up." So anyway, this guy, they finally, like, the other woman takes her husband's like, "Oh, no, we're going to walk away from this." And then he comes back and sees like he had one drink or something like that. He's like, "Oh yeah, big surprise! Oh, he's drinking." But I'm just like, who is this fucking guy? And I heard like the person with him being like, "Oh, it must be a generational thing." And I'm like, a generational thing to laugh at a comedy? We're laughing because it's a comedy. That's what you're supposed to do. You stupid people. But my biggest disgusting thing was just like, why was this guy still in there? They should have kicked his ass out. We were doing nothing wrong. We were sitting there enjoying the show. So yeah, I think it's Seattle Music Theater. Never. I will never go there again. Because that was absolutely, he should have been kicked right the fuck out. Bottom line. Because he's the one that confronted us. If he just walked away and said nothing, whatever. Don't come back to your seat, go to some other seat, that's fine. But he had to make a big fucking deal about it and be a total Karen about it. And it's like, fuck you, buddy. Excuse my language. But, it was a very uncomfortable experience. And Draco had a good laugh about it afterwards, of course. But, like, it was just like, what the fuck, We're just trying to come and see a goddamn show and support our friend. And this guy's making a big confrontation at a freaking theater. You're at a theater, dude. This is not the fight night, It's like, so, yeah. Anyway. Screw that place and screw that guy. Anyway, back to business. Back to October. So we get to October and we were doing a show with a group called Powdered Cat. And it was pretty much the same result as the August show. But there's a story with this, though. Let me get into this real quick. When we were talking about Sketchfest, there were two things. Gina's a great person. I'll never say anything bad about Gina. But let me say something bad about Gina. No, I'm just like, no, but there was a time when we were doing rehearsal for Sketchfest. And I think Josh was mispronouncing some word or something like that. I can't remember exactly the context of it. and she kind of called him out on it or something like that, like grammar police or something. I don't really know. But like, and then she said something like, "Well, if you don't pronounce that right, my friends won't come to the show." And I'm just like, are they that elitist? Like, who cares? It's comedy. Who cares if he's mispronouncing it on purpose? It's like, come on, And the other thing that bothered me was the October show, because Gina had not been at rehearsals for this, because she had other things going on, and that's fine, whatever. And I was pretty lenient, especially that first year, about like, oh, well, yeah, you can still be in the show, I guess. If it's an improv show, you can still be in the show as long as you're at rehearsals. Sketch shows are different because you have to rehearse and practice and memorize and all that stuff, and block and all that stuff and make the comedy down. But with improv, I thought, oh, that's fine. But at the same time, we weren't that experienced at long form. But the rest of us, minus Jeanette and Gina, had been at rehearsals. And we pretty much had been practicing something. Unlike the August show where we really didn't have a lot of rehearsal and we didn't know what the hell we were doing, we actually had a good plan. Like, it was going to be a really good show. And we got to the show, and then Gina's like, oh, well, then why don't we just do it this way? And, we all caved, and it sucked. The show sucked. And it's like, if we had just stuck to what we were doing, it probably would have been a better show. And that was actually Gina's last show, because she, started moving into more of the classes for the stunt work, which is fine, And Jeanette kind of fizzled a little bit after that too. She'd pop up here and there, but she kind of fizzled after that too. And it was just like, and there's nothing against either of them. I have no, ill will towards any of them. But it was just an annoying situation. It was one of those things that, like, things I know now were like, hey, you're not at rehearsals for this. If it's a long form or it's an improv or it's a sketch show, you're not in the show. And that's nothing personal. That's just like, that's not fair to everybody else who's been there. You made a commitment here, do the thing. But it is what it is. The show went okay, but and Powder Cat was fine, but it was the same situation. They brought one person and we brought one person. It was my birthday, though. That was kind of cool. And Rusty got me a card and a cake and all that. That was nice. Nice moment for it. But, like, yeah, it wasn't majorly upsetting, but it was just little things here and there that were just like, ugh. So, like I said, at this point, like I said, Jeanette's kind of fizzled out. Gina's basically moving on to other things. Jessica's gone. Liza's gone. Draco's getting ready to move that way. So it's basically just like Jim and Donnie are still left from our audition crew. Oh boy. But like I said, Diana's still there and all that stuff. Yeah. So we had a sketch show in November, which was the plan, to do a sketch show. And originally Robert was going to do that too, and that didn't happen. It was just one of those things. Robert's great, but he's just really committed to his band, and he gets a little flaky sometimes. That's not a criticism as a person. He's a very nice guy, a very talented guy, but I think music was just kind of sad, and that's fine. But I remember we did the show, and this is a funny story too. Jim is a great guy, and like I said, I keep saying this because I'm not doing this to be like, oh, now I'm going to insult this motherfucker. It's more just funny. He had this sketch idea, and it was for, like, El Dente or something like that, like, it was something he read on the back of a spaghetti box or something like that. And he wrote a sketch out of it, but it was like, we were trying to figure out, even when I read it, I was like, what is supposed to be funny about this? And then Anna, like, even, chimed in, like, oh, well, maybe he's doing that, like, she's trying to get the context of it. And it's like, oh, no, that's not what he was doing. And then we're all just kind of like, then what is the point of the sketch? Because at the end of the day, the sketch should at least try to be funny. As I said, depending on the audience, it's subjective humor. But, like, if you don't even know what the fucking joke is of the sketch or the humor of the sketch, probably don't have a sketch, is what I'm saying. Just from what I've learned. And don't get me wrong, I've written bad sketches or sketches that really didn't work out at all, or just like weren't as seasoned as they could have been. I'll fully admit that. Times there were things I thought were super funny, and I got to the show and it was like, no one's laughing at this shit that I thought was hilarious, and yeah, it can get frustrating, but it was just so funny because when we did it, and there wasn't anybody there. I remember I was starting to come down with a fever or something, and I was during the show, and I was like, fuck, I'd written this sketch with my character Doug Farnsworth. It was a spelling bee thing, and it was way too long. way too long, and it was like friggin' monologue. I don't know what I was thinking with that. So that was a bad sketch. It was just like not a great sketch show, which sucked because it was the first one Donnie had done with us, and I wanted him to have something fun. And he had fun and all, but it was like we barely had an audience, and it was just like, okay, well, we got through it. It was our November sketch, so I think it was Thankful for Nothing was the title. We usually tend to do something for the Thanksgiving thing. So anyway, we decided, okay, we've lost a bunch of people. Time to audition people again. And Draco did end up doing the December show with us before he went to LA. So that was cool. So we auditioned more people. And we got another new girl named Jessica. A lot of Jessicas in this group. Short, very funny. And then we got a guy named James, who another really funny guy. He reminded me a lot of Michael. His personality reminded me a lot of Michael. And Anna had worked with him when he was a kid, like during Shakespeare show, like when he was like a teenager and stuff. So it was really cool. Nice connection there. And he was really funny. Another guy named Jag, and just a phenomenal actor. Like, he's still in the group to this day. So I mean, and just a good friend and just a phenomenal actor, and just immediately stood out. And then who else? This guy named Alex, who's a good friend, and he would also start to really grow into the group. He was a little shy at first and a little quiet at first, but I thought he had potential. So I'm like, let's bring this guy in. And there was this girl named Laurel who was really funny at the audition. She reminded me a lot of Jillian in terms of her personality and how she did characters and stuff. Because we had everybody at these auditions do the characters through the door thing, which is basically like you go through. I think I talked about when I talked about the improv class, but basically you go through. We only did 5. When we did it in Jet City, it was 10. But you basically walk out, you come in as a new character each time, and you just have to change it and think of it on the spot, And she was really good at that. Unfortunately, she never actually joined the troupe. Like she just got a whole bunch of like acting work, like all in a row. So we just never actually got to work with her. There was another girl that was there too. I forget her name. She came to a couple rehearsals, and then she was pregnant, and then that pretty much just kind of fizzled out. Which hey, that's fine. Congrats to her and all. But it was like okay, so that's it. And so we still had Donnie and we still had Jim for a little bit. Though Jim started to bow out a little bit. Into the next year, but we did the holiday extravaganza show, did some improv games, and included some of the new people in there and stuff. And Draco was with us and stuff like that. There's another guy named Jesse too, who was also he was there. He only got to do one show with us, which is unfortunate. I'd written a couple sketches. I had him one where him and Josh were like conjoined twins and stuff. That was they were really funny. For Jesse, it was just a drive. He lived pretty far north and stuff. Really nice guy though. So as we exit 2016, we had a successful run with Dark Meat. We had some new turkeys, and we pretty much lost almost all of them. Oh well, life goes on. But hey, at least some of them stayed for a while. And like I said, none of them. There was no big drama with any of them leaving. There might have been issues, here and there, as I mentioned there, but no big. Oh God, oh no. So it was no big drama with them leaving. So that was good at least. And so we got some new people. And a good majority of them would stick around for a while, which is good. Some of them are still in the group, so that's cool too. But yeah, we started, I think 2016 was definitely a year of learning. And I would learn even more the next year. But learning about like, okay, how much time do we need to structure the show? How many times we need to make sure people are at rehearsals? Knowing when to like say no, you're not gonna be in the show because one of the other big things. Let me just say the quick pet peeve, and this has come from lots and lots of auditions for Turbo Turkey between plays and other things. If you have to bow out, things happen. I understand that. Car accidents happen. A car breaks down. You're sick. You have the audition, or you decide just like, oh, I just don't know if it's the right project for me. That's great. I may have said this in the other video. I don't remember. But if you're going to audition, at least send an email if you can't make it. Even if it's after the audition's over. Like, just like, oh, I'm really sorry I couldn't make it. Because when you sit there and mark out, like, I'm going to have 20 people at this audition or 15 people at audition, and then suddenly 5 show up, it's very frustrating. And then, of course, when you actually audition these people and you get in and then these people bow out after a month, it also sucks. Oh, yeah, one more thing on the dark meat. Charlie, who had, was supposed to be an Electro Man, also took a part in the dark meat and then bowed out of that, too. So it was like, okay, nothing personal against Charlie, but it's like, okay, that's 2 shows in a row you've had to bow out right towards the beginning. So, yeah. She's never auditioned for us again, so, oh well. But, I hope we didn't do anything to offend her or anything like that, but oh well. But yeah, so I just remember that dark meat. I'm like, well, guess you're playing that role then. All right, Simone, do this role. Or Jeanette, I can't remember who played that role, but yeah, anyway, so 2016 was a year of learning, but hey, we did get to do Sketchfest. We got to do a split show at the Pocket. We had shows every single month, 12 months of shows. We had some new people for a while, some of them left, and then we had some new people join at the end of the year. So to lead us into 2017, and our next thing that we do in January would be Improv Month, and try to do some more long form stuff that will have some interesting stories. But that's going to be next time, guys. We're at about 50 minutes. Like and subscribe, guys. I know these videos are long, but I do enjoy this. I was watching a Kids in the Hall documentary and just finding and it's like, this is the best way I can do a documentary right now. I'd love to do one where we someday talk about territory with actual members and other people talking besides me babbling on for 50 minutes. But yeah, this is kind of just a little bit of my story. I'm enjoying doing this. It's fun to talk to a camera. I hope you're enjoying it too. You can take breaks. You can pause it and then come back. It's all good. But subscribe. We're happy with the 13 subscribers. We're hoping to keep building. Me and Honor will probably do more little mini reviews too, because those were fun for the Shudder thing. I'm also talking about maybe doing a movie reenactment thing here, where it's a scene from a movie. Me and Anna can just reenact it. It's something that's been done, but I don't care. It's my channel. So yeah, anyway, cool guys, like and subscribe. Hope you enjoy this, and we will continue into 2017 next week. We're almost to 2021, 22 we are now. So yeah, more stuff to come. So hope you enjoy this, guys. Have a great day. And definitely check out Sketchpad 2.0 if you want to see Turbo Turkey shows. And also check out Admin Anna tomorrow, because we'll have some new shorts for you. Have a good day, sir. And ma'am. And other. All of you have a good day. There we go. Have a good day.